Although I've been here for 3 weekends now, I will introduce myself yet again. I'm Father Stephen Logue. I'm the new parochial vicar here to assist Father Hahn. Last summer I had a brief assignment of 4 weeks, and at the final weekend I said farewell, and afterwards people asked who was that nice priest who was saying goodbye. So I feel at least 3 or 4 weeks till everyone has had a chance to see me. At first glance, our readings today might seem to contradict each other. In our first reading, Abraham goes out of his way to be the absolute best host to these mysterious travelers. He bows low at their arrival, he bathes their feet, brings them food and drink, and slaughters a steer on the spot to provide for their meal. And God blesses him for this. Then we have the gospel, where Martha appears to be doing the same thing, working hard to be the best host she can be for the Lord. But when she asks Jesus to tell Mary to help, Jesus tells her that it is Mary who has chosen the better part. So what's going on here? Are we supposed to be good hosts or not? And broader than that, are we supposed to go out into the world and work, or should we spend all our time listening at the feet of Jesus? This gets at the classic dynamic of faith and works. Is it enough simply to believe in God, to have faith, or do I have to show that belief through my actions, through my works? With just the gospel, it seems that faith is all that's needed. Mary demonstrates her faith while Martha is busy with works, and Jesus says that Martha has chosen the better part, that Mary, has chosen the better part. But the Church in her wisdom has given us the account of Abraham today as well, to help understand what is going on. Abraham also appears to be focusing on the works, but we need to understand how Abraham got to this point. If you remember, God promised Abraham that Sarah would bear his son, and God made this promise when Abraham was about 99 years old. Abraham found this somewhat unlikely and proceeded to take matters into his own hands and had a son with Sarah's servant. At this point, God made it clear that Abraham should have trusted in him. And so here in what we read today, Abraham has realized his mistake in not trusting in God, and he is patiently waiting, patiently trusting, leaving it in God's hands, but still ready to serve, ready for God to fulfill his promise of descendants more numerous than the stars. And so we have Abraham in the heat of the day, attentive at the entrance to his tent, ready to serve, but fully focused on the Lord. And then we have Martha, also ready to serve, but, as Jesus says, she is anxious and worried about many things. I think Paul's letter can help bring us home. Paul, in this letter to the Colossians, is dealing with the early form of the Gnostics. And the Gnostics believed that there was this secret knowledge, this hidden wisdom that only they had access to, and that you were unable to achieve salvation through Christ without subscribing to their super secret knowledge. And connected to this belief was the idea that the flesh, the physical, is something to be transcended, and that the only important thing is the spiritual. The Gnostics reject the physical, they reject the works of the physical, and they embrace the spiritual and the faith in this secret knowledge. But Paul condemns these Gnostic ideas. He emphasizes that Christ came physically in the flesh and actually suffered and died and that our suffering, rather, can be joined with Christ's to help bring about our salvation. And so back to Abraham and Martha. Abraham's faith permeated his works. And Martha, at least at this moment, was worried about many different things. But as Jesus went on to say, there is need of only one thing. And that one thing is Jesus Christ himself. Our faith should permeate our works, and not just our works of charity, but our efforts in our jobs, our chores at home, our studies in school. Being concerned about all these little things individually will lead to the frustration that Martha felt. We need to only worry about the one thing. Is this work? Is this chore? Is this study? Is this activity? Is this game bringing me and those around me closer to Christ or farther away? We cannot simply leave our faith in a little 1-hour box on the weekend. St. Maximus the Confessor said, "By itself, faith accomplishes nothing, for even the devils believe and shudder." In all that we do, in big things, in small things, in important things, and in insignificant things, we need to remember to choose the better part, or we will be anxious and worried about many things, and our faith will accomplish nothing. Choose Christ, and that choice will not be taken from us.